Wait, what? What are you saying? Oh, hey, did you know that your steering wheel's actually talking to you when you're on the track? Well, it is, and in today's video, I'm going to tell you what it's saying and how you can maximize that information to increase your speeds and your lap times when you're on the track in iRacing. So, all of that and more right after this. What's up everybody, Thomas Brandon here. Welcome to another School of Sim Racing video. Now, really quick, do me a favor, if you like this video today, please hit that like button. Also, make sure to subscribe and then hit that notification bell. We are almost at 2,000 subscribers. I want to get over 2,000 by the end of the month. And so if we can do that, that would be just awesome. I mean, the fact that we've even gotten this much is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And I owe the vast majority of that to you for going out there and sharing it, you know, telling people about it. I have found links to my videos in everywhere from iRacing forums to Facebook groups and anything else in between. And so it's absolutely awesome. So I'm really appreciative of that. And let's keep it up. Let's keep growing the community. Also, if you want to join me, I live stream every Wednesday and Thursday on Twitch. Link down in the description below. You can come hang out. We got an awesome group, and it's a lot of fun. And I live stream our league races and stuff like that. But anyways, to the video. So your steering wheel, yeah, it talks to you. And here's the thing. Most people don't know what it's saying. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. There is a way to translate this information and do it in a way that is much easier. All right. But in order to do that, we got to change a couple of settings. Okay. So first, let's go over and do that. And I'll talk more about what this thing is actually telling you. All right. So the first thing you need to do is go into the iRacing when you're in a session and go to options. And then where it says this right here, you want to put this stuff all the way down. All the way down. Okay? So, all zeros. And what that's going to do is that's going to make it to where when you're in the car, you're going to actually see the suspension and everything really move. All right? So, for example, if we go back here and I lock this in, if I lock roll and pitch chassis in, and that's how it typically comes default from iRacing. And then I'm gonna have to move my FOV back so you can actually see this. Let's move it all the way back. Okay, did I just hit that? No, okay. So when we have it at 100, all right, you're gonna notice that, God, this is really hard to drive this far back on triple monitors. But you're gonna notice, see how the suspension doesn't really move? The suspension's not moving. Now our view is as we go up and down the banking, but the suspension's not really moving, right? When you take this to 0, what'll happen is now that stuff's gonna be moving all over the place. All right, so we get back in and test, and now you can see how I just hit the gas. See how the suspension's moving now? It's not our view of things. The suspension is moving like it would in real life. See how it's bouncing? See how I hit the gas and it's the suspension's moving around? That is valuable information, very valuable information, because when you are driving, that is relaying the information along with what is in the steering wheel, and those two go hand in hand, okay? So, for example, when you get this car winged over and you load the suspension, you're going to see that on the screen and you're going to feel that in the wheel. All right, and what's going to happen is the more you do this, and if you've had your options at 100%, if you've had that locked in, it's going to take some getting used to. But after a practice session or two, you'll be fine. You'll be completely used to it. But what will happen is now you're going to get to a point where you have information coming in through your eyes and you're feeling it in your hands, and that becomes it just becomes synced, and you will know what to do instinctively. It's just like being in a real race car. All right, so when I used to race outlaw carts, we felt everything obviously in our butt. Okay, the seat of your pants. It's the same thing with a sprint car or a midget or a stock car or whatever. You feel it in the seat of your pants. You know you've got traction because you can feel the wheels spinning, right? Or you can feel them hooked up. You know that you've got the car winged over because you can feel the car wing over, right? So those are things that you can feel. You can feel it and you can see it. It's all around you. In sim racing, we don't have that unless you've got a motion rig, right? That costs thousands and thousands of dollars, and the vast majority of us don't have motion rigs. So we have to rely on our eyes and our hands, this steering wheel. This steering wheel has to relay all of the information that we can't get through the seat of our pants. So this is going to relay your suspension. When the suspension loads, it relays your steering, it relays the G-forces, it relays your traction. Okay, all of that stuff is coming through the wheel. And if you don't know what those things are, you're just going to think it's just a hodgepodge of stuff coming at you. And you're like, what the heck is going on? All right, and that's why we're doing this video, because I actually had somebody say, hey man, can you tell me what this stuff, what's going on? Because I feel all these different things. I know they mean something. I just don't know what. All right, so that's what we're doing. Okay, so I made mention kind of right now, just kind of running through the list of things you're going to feel. The first thing that you're going to feel is you're going to feel the suspension load. Okay, when the suspension loads, you're going to actually feel it in the wheel. What will happen is this is going to actually, it's almost like the wheel gets tightened up to a range. So right now I can turn this thing like this very, very easy. When I go into the corner and I turn the car in and then I kind of counter steer and the suspension is going to actually load, you're going to feel this tighten up. And what will happen is now it's almost like there's a range that has been put into the wheel, and it's going to happen really, really fast. It's very subtle, but you'll feel it. And when that range is there, it's like you can turn the wheel inside that range, but there's like a barrier that you can't get past. Now you can get past that barrier, but if you do, what happens is now you unload the suspension, and that's when things get all out of whack. So what happens is when you go into the corner and you actually feel that suspension load, and I'm going to go onto the track here and kind of show you and explain this stuff as we go through it. When you go into the corner and you feel that suspension load, from that point on, you want to be turning the car with the pedals, with the throttle and the brake. You don't want to be having to use too much wheel, because if you put too much wheel into it, now you unload the suspension and the car's not hooked up like it was, and you're going to have problems. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing is this thing's going to relay G-forces. All right. So when you are driving in a winged sprint car, and I suggest you do this for the first time in a winged sprint car, you'll feel this in all the cars. All right. It'll just be different directions. So for example, midgets and non-wing sprint cars, they roll more to the right. So when you go into the corner, it's going to be the reverse of a wing sprint car, because the wing sprint car's got that big ass barn door up top, right, that sucks it down on the left. So and it'll be the opposite direction. Same thing with late models, right? They get up on the bars or on the four link on the right side. So do it in a wing sprint car, all right, if you drive wing sprint cars, because that way it'll happen exactly the way that I'm telling you. But anyways, so the G-forces is what you're going to feel is you're going to actually feel it when the car wants to kind of pull like it's steering itself. That's not just the stagger doing that. That's when you start to turn that and you get that wing to where now it's more lateral. That's the car being winged over. That's the G-forces winging the car over. And you'll notice that when you turn if you turn the wheel to the right, it's lighter, it's easier than to the left. The reason for that is because as you get those G-forces on this one side, it's lightening up the weight on the right. Okay? So you're talking about positive G, negative G, right? If you were looking at the center line, if you took the car and you split it in half down the center, you're feeling the G-forces push this way, which means it's taking it off of this way, right? In terms of G-forces or weight, right? So you have G's going this way, and then the weight's coming off this side. You'll feel that in the wheel. It's going to be a little bit harder to move it this way and a little easier to move it this way. All right? Think of a bicycle or a those of you who have ever ridden motorcycles. When you are riding a motorcycle, right, and you want to go left, the crazy thing is yes, you lean and you turn left, but it's almost like you're kind of turning the opposite way since you're leaning. It's like you lean and you push out, all right? Those of you who have ever ridden motorcycles, you'll know what I'm talking about. And that's more for like really like street bikes or dirt bikes if you're racing a dirt bike or something. So if it's going to feel kind of counterintuitive at first, but that's what this is relaying to you, is the G forces that you're feeling when you are racing. The last thing that it's going to feel, other than obviously steering and just bumps and hitting the wall, that stuff, you guys know what that is. Go out and hit a wall, you're going to feel it, okay? Turn the steering wheel, you're going to feel it, all right? But the other main thing that it is relaying to you is traction. And when you break these things loose and you're spinning the wheels, you're going to feel it in the steering wheel. And the way that you feel it is the wheel's going to get really, really light. You're going to feel it like, you're going to be like, oh my God, it's going to be like you're on ice. Okay. And that's how you're going to know that, oh my God, I'm breaking the car loose, or I'm not getting any grip. Okay. So those are the main aspects that this thing is telling you. It's relaying to you every second around the track. So let's go in and let me show you, walk you through what I'm feeling and kind of how you can experience this for yourself so you know what I'm talking about. So the first thing is going to be the suspension loading, okay? Now the best way to load the suspension and do it intentionally is get onto a track, preferably a smaller one. Lima Land, Kokomo, Fairbury's a good one. Get onto a track, gas it up down the straightaway, and then actually hit the brakes, drop the nose, and now I got the suspension loaded. Now, see how the car kind of jerked? That's because when I came out of the corner, I turned the wheel a little too much and I unloaded it, okay? So, let me show you that again. Right there, the suspension's loaded. See how I can move that wheel and it's like it was in a range? And I wouldn't do that during a race. I'm trying to illustrate it to you. You don't want to be doing that. When you get the suspension loaded, you want it to just be loaded. Okay? Don't hit the wall. Alright. So drop the nose and then load the suspension. You're going to feel it. Right there, suspension's loaded. Suspension's loaded, and it's loaded way too far, right? You don't want to just load the suspension. You want to load the suspension with your wheels at the right angle, because if you get way too crossed up, right there, perfect. And then you can control it the rest of the way with the gas and just a little bit of wheel, or you can use just gas and brake. All right. So go in, drop the nose. Not that time. Go in, drop the nose. There we go. And you're gonna feel the suspension load in there. Like I said, you're gonna feel this thing suck down. Okay. Now, G-forces. When you are driving, you're going to feel the G-forces in conjunction with that suspension loading. So as I turn it, now it's much lighter to one side than the other. That is the G-forces. You feel it get really hard on the left side because it's winged over, and really light on the right side. The reason for that is because for you to turn against it, or turn with the weight of the car, since the G-forces, the momentum is sucking it down on the left side, it makes it much harder because you've got all that dynamic weight shifted over there. That's due to the G-forces, okay? That goes hand in hand with your suspension. And really quick, this goes hand in hand with what you're seeing, right? In terms of the car and the suspension around you. Now you'll get to where right there, suspension's loaded. I'm through the slick, but it's loaded. You'll get to where it goes, it matches, and now you are seeing that in your peripheral vision, and it's just second nature. Okay? And I'm gonna run out of fuel. Right there, suspension's loaded, and I control it from the center out with the throttle. All right? Now we got to get some more fuel. Okay, so that's the G-forces, that's the suspension loading. The last one is the slick, or the lack of traction. The way that you're going to feel this is not by hitting the wall. Is, let's say I've got traction, and then now, this is so weird to be this far back. Right there. It's going to get really, really light. If you were to go out and just go through the slick, step on it, and just spin yourself out, but you're going to feel it get really, really light, okay? So, that is the wheels breaking loose. See, traction, lack of traction. It'll get really light. So when your suspension is loaded, and I talked about how it's like it gets like this tighter range, how it's like it drops down and you're feeling the G-forces, and it's a little bit harder on one angle to one side than the other. When you feel that, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, and it just gets really, really loose, like it's super easy, that's because you've just gone through the slick and you broke the tires loose. That's what that is telling you. Okay? So, those are the things that your steering wheel is saying to you when you're on the track racing. So what you want to do is you want to go out. I would recommend doing it in a winged sprint car so you can feel it this exact same way that I was describing it. And I know that there was a lot of stuff going on here. You might have to watch this video more than once. My apologies, but go out and do those things. Drive it into the corner. Hit the brakes, right? Don't just smash the brakes, but hit the brakes until it drops the nose and loads the suspension, and you'll feel that. Then do a corner where you're just using the gas, but you turn it a little bit harder to get the car turned in, and you're going to feel the G-forces suck that down. That's also loading the suspension, and then you'll feel that how one side's lighter and the other side's a little bit heavier. Then drive around, and then do where you've got a corner where you can actually run high, where you're in good dirt, and then drive through the slick and feel the difference, how that thing breaks, how it gets really easy, really light, and breaks loose. Okay, and those are the different things that your steering wheel is relaying to you. All right, along with obviously just the steering and the bumps and hitting the wall and things like that. So it's a lot of information. It can seem very overwhelming at first, but go out, turn some laps. You know what you're looking for in terms of the feeling. Once you've figured that out, what'll happen is it'll just be like muscle memory. You're going to feel it. You're going to know it subconsciously what's going on, and you're not even going to have to think about it. All right. So that's going to do it all for this video. Now, really quick, do me a favor. If you like this, please, like I said before, hit that like button. Also, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I got a ton of content that I'm going to be putting out, particularly series that I'm doing where, I put out the video, yesterday on the wing, the dynamics of the wing, and what the wing angle and the wing position actually does. I got a bunch more that I'm doing on everything from shocks to bars to tire pressure. I mean, all kinds of stuff. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on that, hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell. And please share this. Share this with other drivers. Share this with those in this dirt racing community in iRacing, because we got a lot of people who are struggling and they just want some help. Also, if you want to join me, like I said, I live stream every Wednesday and Thursday on Twitch. Links down in the description below. And then if you want to actually head over and join the School of Sim Racing Discord, it's completely free. I have a link down in the description below for that. Come over, join what I think is by far the best sim racing community online today. And it's without a doubt the most helpful. We've got about 1,000 people in there now. Everybody helps each other out. We have a bunch of different channels where you can go in, ask questions, and you get questions answered. And people are in there willing to help you. And you don't get talked down for asking a question, none of that stuff. It's really, really just awesome community. And it's the thing that I love the most about this whole experience, this whole, School of Sim Racing thing. So if you want to check out any of those things, links will be down in the description below for all that stuff. But that's going to do it. As always, thank you very much for joining me. I genuinely, truly appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And until then, as always, I want to wish you good luck and good racing. Take care.